Real David can hardly believe.
That's incredible.
And here's something really important for you listening. Goggins warns people not to just label him a super freak.
Why is that?
Because if you do that, you give yourself a get-out-of-jail-free card, he calls it. You can just say, oh, well, he's different, and then you don't have to face your own potential.
I see. It becomes an excuse.
Precisely. He really hammers home that his achievements aren't magic. They come from the daily grind, the constant fight against wanting to quit, wanting comfort. It's about showing up every single day.
That consistency. Okay, so where did this all start? What was the catalyst for this massive shift?
Well, he talks about hitting rock bottom, basically. Early 20s, nearly 300 pounds, tough relationship, working a job he hated spraying for cockroaches.
Wow, okay. That's a low point.
Yeah, and it was there at that absolute low that he knew something had to change drastically.
And his goal was Navy SEALs. That's a huge jump.
Huge jump. And he got rejected multiple times because of his weight. And one recruiter apparently told him it was also because he was black.
Seriously?
Yeah. Took him 7 tries before one recruiter finally saw something, gave him a shot, but with this, almost impossible condition attached.
Which
lose 106 pounds in under 3 months.
106 pounds?
Yes.
In less than 3 months. That sounds physically impossible.
Right. And Goggins himself admits, at that point, it wasn't some burning desire to be a SEAL that drove him initially. It was more just the stark realization that his life couldn't continue the way it was. It was unsustainable.
And then came that moment, the real turning point, the cockroach job.
Yeah, after a particularly bad day, he just quit, drove home, and decided right then, I'm going to run 4 miles, even though at the time he could barely manage a quarter mile.
Just decided.
That first small act of defiance, that commitment, that's what kicked it all off.
It really highlights that feeling we all know, right?
Yeah.
Facing something huge, that voice telling you to just give up.
Totally. The interviewer points that so many people listening would recognize that feeling. Goggins gets it. He talks about how easy it would have been to just stay on the couch with a milkshake, overwhelmed.
Yeah. And he also brings up how we tend to shy away from tough truth. Like, we don't want to tell someone, hey, you really need to step up.
Right. We avoid being the bad guy.
But Goggins argues that coddling yourself, ignoring that critical inner voice, that actually holds you back.
So for him, the answer was to become his own toughest critic. No more excuses about his past, his childhood, the bullying. He just owned it, looked in the mirror, and confronted the reality of his situation.
Taking full responsibility.
Full responsibility. And that fueled the action. He'd call the recruiter constantly, updating him on his weight loss. Not for praise, but just to prove it to himself.